So, hi everyone. Just starting with the fact that global trade five moves like around 20 to 25 trillion in volume around bonds, equities, derivatives per day, which is around like 5,000 times of what Solana is doing right now. To bring a major chunk of that, to pour in like major chunk of those trillions into these internet capital markets, we need privacy. So from that fact, I will just keep starting my presentation. And with Anshu, core contributor at Encipher. At Encipher, we have been in this space from last 4 years, been building in zero knowledge proofs and in general cryptography. I have worked with companies like Avail Projects and few other privacy focused teams. So moving forward, what we are right now building, we are building Encipher, which is a cryptographic co-processors, which enables developers, which enables users to execute their intent privately. Intent privately, what I mean is like now they can make actions on top of Solana where they can choose to reveal certain information what they want to reveal and keep certain information what they want to not reveal. Encrypt.red is just a front end which sort of like exposes all the functionalities which we have built till today, and you can just go to encrypt.red and see like what we have built up. So as I mentioned, like the core goals of our cryptographic coprocessor is to enable users to express their intents in an encrypted manner. At the same time, since these intents are encrypted, it needs to be processed in certain runtime where it can actually be processed. So we process those intents on chain, and to make those verifiable, we have like certain backup flows where user can like just verify that whatever request he's making, it's actually been computed in a valid instance. Second is we kept our infrastructure very modular in nature so that like we can scale each component horizontally because Solana is built for scale. And if we need DeFi to work with privacy, we need to build infrastructure which can work at scale. And the last goal which Encipher enables is it enables them to write native encrypted programs. Now your programs can natively work with encrypted variables. So this is how like the current way, like how transactions work. Your state information is public. All of the mutations which are you are doing on your chain is public. This is what Encipher enables you to do. Now your state can work with encrypted values. Now you can mutate these encrypted values and can verify that this mutation is actually intended and correct. Moving forward, as I mentioned, like if you are doing anything on top of this ciphertext values, who are you gonna trust? You need like some ways to verify, right? That whatever computation which you have intended on chain has actually been performed in certain valid instance, so that you can rely on the confirmation of this updated value. So we have this like sort of like a post-processing mechanism. In this post-processing mechanism, what we do is we batch all of these requests along with their output responses with a certain proof that this has been computed at this particular time frame and this was the state of the machine. We batch all those computes in a certain data structure which we internally call as batch tree. Then the batch tree rules gets accumulated and then posted on chain. Now users can just like download their ciphertext from a certain data storage layers, the request they had made on chain, and can just like verify that this particular computation has happened at this point of time and this is the root. Again, they can just like check the inclusion of it. Moving forward, like as I mentioned, Solana is built for scale and we don't want to bottleneck Solana privacy with any sort of like overhead which is getting introduced by our off-chain entity, by our co-processor. So what we did is like we kept the off-chain execution engine, like which can leverage any sort of like PT backend, whether it be FHE, whether it be MPC, whether it be DE, or maybe an hybrid version of any of those. Build certain wrapper components, which is like the Solana programs, the computation preprocessor, the off-chain submitter. All of these components work independently, so that at the end of the day, we can like horizontally scale each of them and can replace the central core co-processing backend to any sort of like PET which the developers need or the market demands. So moving forward, the last and foremost goal with Encipher is like we can build like front end on top of Encipher. We can enable users to do DeFi activities privately, but actually to bring privacy, bring more use cases to wider audience, we need developers to build on top of it as well. That's why what we did, we built a sort of like a wrapper library which interfaces very sort of like baseline primitives, whether it could be arithmetic statement, control statement, what all primitives which are possible right now, which makes your programming, your logic Turing complete. you can express those primitives and use those to work on encrypted value. So this is like one of the screenshot of the program, how you can do private transfers you on top of this encrypted value. So what are goals with Encipher? What are goals with like enabling privacy at scale on Solana? Solana is built for scale. We don't want privacy to bottleneck the scales. That's one of our goal, to sort of like design infrastructures in such a way that it doesn't bottleneck Solana CPS, at the same time it gives you benefits of privacy. Second is like we want to bring privacy tax to zero. We don't want user to ever think that if he's opting for privacy, he's opting for certain overhead. That's our goal, that's our motive, that's where we are going to work towards. And second is ecosystem of private DeFi. We wanna, as an initial stage, wanna dog food users with all of the DeFi primitives which are there on Solana. Not all, but like most of the DeFi primitives, which sort of like gen 70 to 80% of transactions to Solana via our own front end. Suppose that like once we get enough volume, we can redirect that volume and that particular liquidity got wrapped via volume to our developers who are building on top of Encipher. So where we are right now, like we already have a public beta live. You can go to encrypt.trade, use the public beta. Already did around 1.5 million in private beta. And we also launched a sort of like a research article, how the private beta actually works, how are we enabling private swaps and cents on top of Jupiter. So if you are interested, just scan this QR code and learn more about it. So yeah, like I just wanna end my talk with like just sharing, if you wanna experience how privacy sort of like gonna look like with Encipher and how you can actually trade privately right now, just head over to encrypt.trade. Thank you.